try to protect your own skin, or did you have any feeling about helping society?
Well, I was going to be killed. That's the reason why I turned.
That's a good reason.
Well, that's the reason why I turned. I mean, that was a true, valid reason.
Of course, the real reason, Barbara, is they don't want to go to jail. That's why Caramandi testified. He ended up doing a year and a half in jail. He's sitting on some beach someplace while Nicky Scarfo's in the basement in Marion, Illinois. That's why they all turn, because they don't want to go to jail. They want to keep their money, and they want to get absolution from the government. And they get absolution from the government.
Well, where are you going to
saw him walking around a beach with a reporter.
Mr. Cutler, you think it would be better if he just let himself get killed?
I'm sorry, Barbara?
Do you think it would be better if he just let himself get killed?
Barbara, my point is that the Caramandis of this world become government witnesses because it suits their purpose to become government witnesses. They get freedom. They get to keep all the money they stole. They don't go to jail for the people they killed. They blame other people for the people they killed. And they get plopped down in some unsuspecting community someplace out in the Midwest, South, or Northwest, and the public doesn't know that they're there. And they continue to commit crimes, like Henry Hill did. And then they get bailed out by the government again. They don't change, and they never will change.
Henry Hill was in the film.
Are you done, Mr. Cutler? Could I talk now? That's
do what you want, Mr. Caramandi.
Yeah,
you got the government's imprimatur.
Yeah,
Mr. Cutler, let
whatever you like.
Mr. Cutler, let Mr. Caramandi talk. Right.
The government doesn't treat witnesses that way. I mean, we make a deal. We have nowhere else to go.
You're in jail?
They don't give you... They don't,
Are you in jail? You did a year and a half.
So what?
You did a year and a half.
I've spent...
Did the jury know you did a year and a half? The jury that convicted Nicky Scarfo, they didn't know that.
Mr.
Charged with in the case that you tried to...
He was charged with the famous RICO Act. He was charged with Racketeering Influence Corruption Organization Act. And ironically enough, I had worked with the FBI, and I still do. I do seminars with the FBI today. And I said to Diane Jackalone, who was put in a tough spot because the FBI did not have the case against John Gotti.
The prosecutor in the case.
The prosecutor, Diane Jackalone. I said, Diane, you know, this guy's got the capability. He's quite astute, clever, and shrewd to fix this case. And they laughed. And sure enough, like last year, if you remember Gene Gotti's case, they stopped it. It was a mistrial. Why? Because he was bribing the jury.
But they ultimately got Gene.
Yeah, and I think there's no question in my mind that John fixed that case.
Okay, that your co-author here, Nick Taylor, is John Gotti. Okay, Nick, what did John do to let Sal know that he was displeased with his testimony?
What John Gotti did was, in a position to do it, out of sight of the judge, put his hand under the witness table and pointed his finger at Sal and pulled the trigger. That's a fairly clear message, don't you think?
An important witness since Valachi. Does he really have that much to tell about John Gotti?
Well, I can't answer that question to an exactitude because there's an upcoming trial, and I don't think it'd be fair to...
Did he tell you any new information?
Well, I don't know what's new and what isn't. He told me a lot of things about a lot of things. So, yes, he's told me a lot of things about Gotti. He grew up with Gotti.
We have a phone call. Yes, you're on the air.
Hi, Matt. This is Mimi from Stroudsburg.
Hi, what's your question?
This question is directed to Sal. I'd like to know, as a parent, and being that he has a son, and when orders came down for him to kill somebody else's father, how did he feel doing that? You know, taking away the father of some other child.
Good question, Sal.
That's a tough question to answer because I'm not going to admit to a crime that has no statute of limitations. But I will tell you this. When you're in the life, sometimes you just have to follow some type of orders that are just either going to be you or the next guy. And when you're in that life, you justify in your own mind what you're doing. And if you say, listen, if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it.
I gave him back what he gave everybody else.
You became an informant?
No, I became a government witness, not an informant or a rat. I became a government witness.
What's the difference?
One's got the courage to stand on the stand, the other one's doing it behind your back and dropping dimes. And how can I be ratting on a guy who's the rat for 30 years? I'm trying to stop him from ratting anymore.
And, you know, I knew the way these people operated. I knew the way they thought. And, you know, I knew that for them to get to me, they would go to my children or other members of my family.
Why were they after you so badly?
Why? Well, the Lufthansa, we had robbed the Lufthansa Airlines in 1978, and it was the largest cash robbery in the United States history.
Millions, right?
Yeah, $8 million in cash. and a couple of million in diamonds and stuff. And all of the, there was 11 people killed after the robbery.
These days.
One of these days, what?
One of these days.
Henry,
You're a big man, aren't you?
Henry, you think you drink because you're afraid that the mob's going to get you?
Sure, he's afraid.
Howard, I lived in fear all my life. I lived in more fear when I was in that life with my friends.
What life with your friends? Frankie the Fag was your friend.
You know?
Yeah. In other words, you were afraid they could hit you at any time.
No, I mean, let me tell you something. That life, that good fellow life, is bullshit.
Well, don't use the S word. You got good things to say,
Listen
but you
to
can't
this guy. He's no respect. He's got
no respect.
He doesn't even have respect for you when you ask him not to curse on
Come on,
here.
you're a punk. You're a punk. You're on the phone, you're a punk.
What, am I supposed to be right there in your face in the studio?
Yeah, you want to know
Please.
something? I'm telling you where I'm at.
I got class.
Come and get me.
That's right. We know where you're at. Believe me.
Yeah. I'm a
We
rat.
know where
I'm
you're
a
at.
happy rat. You're goddamn right. You want to know something? I did the right thing. I changed my life.
You changed your life. You're a drunken prick, disgraziato rat bastard.
But he changed his life.
Salud.
Changed his life in what way?
Salud.
How?
Yeah. Hey, Paulie, I'm going to go take a break, and thank you for calling.
And that's it.
Well, what do you want me to do?
Well, I want you to throw this prick out.
You mean me?
Talking about Artie?
You do it. He's not. Hey, Henry.
Wow.
Tell Howard the time you and Frankie the Fag hung out all the time.
I love fags.
You do? You love Frankie the Fag?
Yeah.
You remember Frankie the Fag?
Yeah, he was like a nice guy.
Nice guy.
He was a nice guy.
He was your good buddy.
I ain't gay.
Henry's not gay.
Yeah, okay.
You think he is?
You believe all the shit that he said?
Don't say the S word.
Excuse me. You believe all the crap that he said?
I'm just listening.
You think all that whole movie's true?
I don't know.
This guy's nothing. He was nothing. He was a piece of garbage.
You mean you're saying Henry built himself up in the movie?
He's a glorified rat bastard. That's all he is.
All right. Well, all right. Thank you for calling in, Paulie.
Thank you, Paulie.
All right. That's Paulie.
Was it really a Frankie the Fag?
Yeah, there was.
There was a Frankie the Fag. Jimmy, what is it real quick?
He is recently remarried, and not to just any woman. This woman was dating Vince Falcone when Leonetti killed him.
Help me understand. The girlfriend of the man who was your close friend whom you murdered, have I got it so far?
Yes.
Is now your wife?
Yes.
I'm glad it's worked out, but you must understand, looking at it from the outside, it seems a little strange.
It does seem strange, but it wasn't until 2 years later that we really start dating. I mean, it wasn't, like, in other words, it might look like I killed him to go out with her. I mean, there was really not even
No,
an
I would think
association.
just the fact that you killed him might slow things down a little bit.
Just that I killed him?
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's in the past. I mean, we have to go on. You know, things happen, and what are you going to do? We come from a very different world than everybody else. Very different.
Here you are today, having brought all of it down. Strange life, huh?
Yeah. Strange life. You never know what's going to happen.
And what about drugs? Gravano says neither he nor Gotti got involved in drug deals, though they looked the other way when others in the family did.
Not that I look down on these drug dealers or whatever they want to do. It just wasn't my business. I wasn't comfortable with it. I didn't like the people that you had to deal with.
But you really want me to believe that with all that money out there in drugs, that you turned away from drug money? You really want me to believe that you had compunctions about the people?
It's a dangerous backstabbing business. So it's not like I'm trying to stand on my high horse that I didn't do drugs. I just didn't do it because I didn't like it. I made millions in construction and shellacking and not all that heat.
Is there ever enough, though?
Well, yeah, it was for me. It was enough for me. I had a house on Staten Island, worth about $500,000.
Double-crossed that the government used him for his information and then broke its agreement over what he insists were minor infractions. Casso now says he regrets his decision to become an informant, a decision he says he made over the strong objections of his immediate family, which feared the mob would retaliate against them.
Over there, I got an older brother. He was over there crying like a baby, and how could you do it, and what about us? Look what you're doing to us, you're ruining our lives, you know. And then my daughter got on the phone, I says to her, I made a deal with them. I gave them my word. I'm gonna keep my word. And for the government, I went against my daughter's wishes.
And now you think the government hung you out to dry?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
You get emotional about your family.
Yes.
It's understandable. You love them very much, you miss them.
Very much.
What about all the people who've been hurt in the course of your years in this mafia business? You pled guilty to more than 100 crimes, participating in some level in 36 murders.
Right.
What about the families of those people?
Look, I didn't know them, so I really, personal feelings. I gotta be honest. I didn't know them.
You don't have any trouble sleeping at night? You don't have a bad conscience about all of this?
Over the victims' families? No, I don't.
And if somebody says bribery, extortion, participation in murder, actually killing somebody, he deserves to be in prison. He doesn't deserve a deal. What do you say?
I say they're right, 100%. If I had to go to jail for my crimes, I should never come out of jail. I don't deserve any sympathy from anybody or anything. But I deserve the deal I made. They should honor the deal I made.